This is The Art of Thought, episode 16, recorded on November 7th, 2018. Gonna talk here about losing focus. Now, losing focus, by that I mean mainly just how things have been lately. I've been doing a lot with the podcast recently. Some of you may have stumbled upon this podcast. Oh yeah, by the way, my name is Kweku Asafu-Adjaye, and I'm the host of The Art of Thought. And I made this podcast, and I've talked about this in the previous one. Not the previous one, but the one, episode 12, What Happened? Which I'll actually plug in the description here. And also, if you can probably tell by my voice is almost gone because of the amount of cleaning I've been doing today. But if you stumbled upon this because of the little ad campaign that I tried to do, I just tested out for Spreaker. That is exactly it. That's why you're here. But what this episode is about, and you might have seen if you're watching after the fact, the show title, Losing Focus. Now, many of us, we have a dream, we have a passion, we do stuff in life that we just do because it brings us joy. And one of the things that brings me joy is this podcast, because rather than trying to do technology, which I tried to do for 2 episodes and then I couldn't find any co-hosts to help me with it and engage in a conversation with, rather than me doing technology or just trying to do like vlogging and just a bunch of stuff, I thought for a while that me doing a bunch of things would help me better. Actually, you know what? This microphone is coming off. Me doing a bunch of things would help me better. And it didn't seem to help at all, because the numbers on everything else. In fact, I talk about numbers, and hold that point for a second. I talk about numbers, and originally when I was doing this, I wasn't thinking about the numbers. I was actually just thinking about just doing it because I used to have a blog called myfindingforever.blogspot.com. You can take a look at that. It's still there, but I haven't uploaded it. I haven't done anything on there or written on there for like maybe 3 years. And this is basically a culmination of doing YouTube in the past and that old blog, because that old blog, I did it randomly. I didn't do it weekly. I did it randomly. Some days I do it every day in that week. Some days I do it once a week. But just like this podcast I do it once a week. And I try to be consistent, because when you're not working as heavily as I am right now, when you're not working like I'm not that much, I'm just doing a part-time at home thing, you need something to do. You need something to keep your mind focused. And keeping your mind on task every week, doing something, anything, whether it's gardening or anything, is good. Whatever it is, whatever you do weekly, and whatever you do that you need to be on time doing it on the same day. Before, I was doing this podcast at like between 12 and 2 p.m. Eastern every Wednesday. And now you can see that I'm doing this at 6:36 p.m. on a Wednesday. So I'm still on task on the day, but I'm not on task on when I should be doing it, like the time, because I had figured, if I do it at 12, I can upload it by 2. I can be done with the audio by 2, upload it, and then more people could see it, because people, by the time they're coming back from work, especially in this metropolitan area, they could listen to it on their way back from work. And what did I do? It's 6 o'clock at night, 6:30 at night. It's past 6:30 at night. Most people are back home from work by now, unless you work really late. And like, now I'm doing it. And so I kind of lost focus. What I'm saying with this whole thing is I kind of lost focus. I started trying to do too much instead of just focus on the little thing that I have. Right here in front of me, I just relocated. Another reason why it is late, but I just relocated my computer desk in this house to a different location. So I had to rearrange and clean up. So that caused my voice to get completely destroyed and my sinuses to just act up. So it's just crazy, like the type of things when you see success happening, the type of things that you try to do to get more success. And so that's why when I see celebrities break out and just do crazy things, I understand it, because they saw success and they're trying to figure out what to do next to continue that trend. But then in that, they lose what brought them to the success in the first place. And for me, I'm not saying I even gained success with this podcast. Like, I don't get comments and everything. I see the numbers of who's watching it, but I don't get the numbers that in fact, let me lower this iPad. I don't get the numbers that, you know, some popular podcasters out there get. I get numbers that are happy for me. You know, I think as of today, let me double check. As of today, this podcast, let me see. As of today, this podcast, I think it's about a total of 90 something hours of people listening, which is amazing for me. Actually, you know what? As of today, this podcast is mainly the one doing all the work. It's about 94 hours total people listening. And that's crazy for me to hear. So, and 140 downloads, and it's insane. I never thought that I could get that many numbers on a podcast. Granted, I don't get people engaging with me in the podcast. Like, I have friends that say, "Hey, so and so happened." Like, I told someone to watch your podcast, and they love it. They wish you did a video portion of it, with your audio. And I tell them all the time, I'm like, I wanted to do it, but things happen. I couldn't do it. There's a heavy delay when I stream it and craziness. So it's just like, I tried to do the video portion. You can see it on the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is the Art of Thought podcast, I believe. It has a YouTube channel. The episodes go up on there, but the ones that I showed my face, to me, are not the good ones. The ones that I just talk and you can just kind of close your eyes and just listen to me speak about whatever it is I'm talking about. To me, those are the best ones because it allows me to just relax. Because when I'm on video, then I have to face this camera, then I have to look at it sometimes, or just sometimes talk if there's someone in front of me. But there's never really anyone in front of me. So it's just me looking at the camera, assuming I'm looking into your eyes. And that's it. So in the episode title of Losing Focus, I wrote that title because I've lost focus. You know, I used to do photography. Well, I do photography still. It's more of like a hobby now than like a thing for making a living because it's hard to get a job in it. I do photography professionally. I do this podcast as well. Sounds professional. I hope so. I do a lot of things that are just, you know, that people on the outside that I know, or people who know people that I know that know of the podcast, think is professional and they would hire me on the spot. But regular HR that does not know you or anything like that, they don't care about that. They don't know you like other people do, so they assume you're a random person, so they want to see how you are compared to all the other random people that they don't know. So in Losing Focus, you know, I tried to make things more professional so I can get a job in the field and hope I like it. Whereas what I should be doing is just doing it how I please, like how I am right now, just enjoying myself, just talking. Right now I'm just talking to myself. This episode may only be like 30 minutes long, but just do it how I please. Don't tailor it towards any certain way and just speak. That's all it is. It's the art of thought. It's the art of thinking. Whatever comes to your head, speak it out. And in some ways, people, this is the type of stuff that you would hear if you went to like a poetry night at your local like bar or whatever place, coffee house. This is the type of stuff you'd hear at like a poetry bar where I'm just speaking. Because some people might vibe with me where they're saying they started doing their passion way too seriously and they lost focus. They tried to do too much and then they got discouraged and they didn't want to continue. And that's kind of how I feel right now, where it's like I lost focus. I've done this for 15 weeks. This is the 16th week. And I saw that I'm getting to total time spent listening on, according to Spreaker's statistics, is 94 hours. I saw that and I was like, man, what can I do to make it quickly jump in 1 week to 100 hours? And instead of thinking about just what topic to talk about next and like how I like to do it, I was thinking about how to increase that number. And if you want an audience, if you are a person who does YouTube or anything online, if you want an audience, other than selling like products, the way you do it is not how do you get the people to get to you. It's how do you do it your way, and then just do it for fun your way. That is if you're not selling anything. If you're just talking, like Casey Neistat, most of the time he's just talking to the camera. He's just doing his thing. He loves doing it. It's therapy to him. And he does it his way, and then next thing you know, years later, this man has 10 million subscribers on YouTube. Casey Neistat, right there is an example. He does his thing differently enough that it created a trend that now more people are doing what he does. Granted, there are other people who've already done it what he does, but he did it in a different way, and that's it. So it's like, I used to do Windows app reviews on my YouTube channel. I don't think it even exists anymore. It's called Next Gen Windows. I don't think it's called that anymore. I used to do it on there. I had about almost 450 subscribers in like 2 years, 2 to 3 years, 2.5 years. Then I started seeing like I was getting company recognition and stuff for what I was doing. But then from that, I'm noticing now, seeing in the past, from that, I got carried away and I was like, how do I get more companies? How do I get a sponsor? How do I do this? I started thinking about how to get the clout. And if you start thinking about getting the clout all the time, you lose focus from your original idea. You lose focus. You lose the passion that you had, that you put into to start that idea. You lose it. And then you start thinking about the money all the time, and everything just changes. And your diehard audience that may not ever say anything, they may actually say something finally and be like, dude, what happened? I was watching your stuff for a while, and then it changed, and now it's all about sponsors, this and that, and money, this and that. And personally for me, I never want to run into that issue. Yeah, of course, we would all love to make money from our passion. But I never want to run into the issue where I'm doing it because of the sponsor. I want to do this podcast, or whatever I want to do this podcast because I like to do it. Not because I'm making money from it, okay? Because I'm not making money from this at all. I think I at one point in the very beginning, when I had like 3 or 4 episodes up, there's like a monetization tab here on Spreaker, and I turned on pre-roll ads. And one thing that I after listening to this other podcast, What the Tech, with Paul Thurrott and Andrew Zarian, is some people, they ask like, how should I do ads? And it's like Paul Thurrott and Andrew Zarian, mainly Andrew Zarian, he's the main host, and even Leo Laporte for the Twit network, twit.tv, they do ads for products they actually would use, and they actually use actively. They don't do random ads of like random objects, like not even a bed, but like they don't do random ads for like, I don't know, a lawn chair that they don't care about, They do ads for things they actually use, like Audible. They do ads for like Casper. They do ads for like Butcher Box, where it's like a meat thing. They do ads for all of that stuff. And they actually use that service, or they've used it at one point. And even sometimes they said, Paul Thurrott even said, he's like, even though they haven't done an ad for Audible in such a long time, I think years, they still talk about Audible, what they're listening to in Audible books, in the podcast randomly sometimes, just because it's what they like to do. And it just so happens that at one point Audible did sponsor them. So it's like, my main thing about this is that I've been doing it for 16 weeks. So that's like 4 months. I've been doing this for 4 months. I started, I think, in July, mid-July or so. I've been doing this for that long, and I've noticed that in doing it for that long, my nose is so stuffed right now. In doing it for that long, I lost focus on why I started doing it in the first place. I lost focus on doing all of this stuff. It started off, I was doing this on SoundCloud. And I was just uploading it to iTunes, and I think not even Google Play, but just iTunes, really. Apple Podcasts, whatever you call it. And then I was like, my friend said, hey, move it over to Spreaker so you can do more than one show. And I was like, cool, because that means that what if I ever want to do another show? What if someone wants to join me and they want to start their own show? Then they could start it under the Helux Media name. which this podcast is under. It's a little mini company that I made to do more than one podcast. And then I had a friend that also said, I think that same friend also said, why don't I do video with it? And I was like, that was the beginning stages. And I was like, I don't really want to do video. I just want to speak and that's it. I don't really care about video. He was like, but it would get more attention. And I was like, yeah, I don't really care about the attention. I'm just doing it. And that was when I was in focus. I didn't lose it. I was in focus because I was telling him I will not do video. The next thing you know, weeks later, a month later, 2 months later, I have a YouTube channel called Just Kweku. I'm making videos on there. I didn't upload the final part of one of the blog posts that I was reading of the past, even though it's already there and edited. I just didn't upload it. And it's because I forgot. But I lost focus in that I said to myself, I will not deviate from doing anything else. I will continue just doing the podcast as my main source of therapy. Because even though no one listens to me, or I feel like people aren't listening to me, it's a way that at least those few people who they may not speak out, those very few people who are actually listening, they can get something out of it. It may change their life. They may see that, wow, I'm not the only one that lost focus in my passion, whatever your passion is, whether it's weaving or whatever it is. So it's one of those things where I really wanted to get this off my chest. It may not be a podcast episode that's pretty good, It may not be a podcast episode. But I lost focus and I'm really sorry about it. I was doing too much, even though I'm not doing much technically. I was doing too much instead of just doing why I did it, doing the podcast for reasons why I did it in the first place, rather than doing it just all over the place. So I lost focus, and sorry everyone about that. So I'm gonna hope that next week I pick up with a better mindset. And also I am live streaming on twitch.tv/ what is it? That guy Kwe, KWE. I just live stream video games because I love playing video games, and I was like, hey, sure, let me play video games, and whoever watches. I have a guy who watches all the time. Just converse one-on-one. It's cool. And that's it. It's fun. It's interesting. It's simple. It's a game I love. So next week will be a better one. Hopefully I'll have a guest on, one of my friends from the past, and we'll see what happens. But my name is Kweku Asafu-Adjaye. It is a Ghanaian or a Ghanaian, whatever way you want to say it. Ghanaian is how I say it, So of Ghanaian descent, and Ashanti descent is the name. Is comes from that. It derives from Ashanti, tribe. My name is Kweku. You can follow me on Instagram, that guy Kwe, KWE. You can also find me on YouTube, just Kweku. Everything will be in the description below. You can email me, The Art of Thought, or just my name. You can email me, HeluxTV, HeluxTV, @outlook.com. And I think I'm good. You can find the podcast, The Art of Thought, on pretty much everywhere you can find podcasts at this point. So go take a look. And yeah, so hope you all enjoy it and have a great Wednesday. It's fall. It's getting cold. Happy daylight savings, and election day just passed. Enjoy, everybody.